Alright, my sweet rock peeps and peepettes. It's been another 7 days for our Fancy Jasper with the redo of stage 1. And let's see what we got this time. Hopefully it's not a freak show like it was last time with no water. Look like they're coming along pretty good. Definitely got a lot roundeder. Yeah, that piece of agate's looking awful pretty. Ain't that neat? Ain't that just neater than all get out? The lines have it. But anyway, oh, there's the moss agate. That one's looking pretty spiffy too. Alright, let me get these rinsed off better and I will come back. Alright peeps, this is the Girasol Opal. And why did I do that way? I don't know what I'm doing. You'll have to forgive me. I get all confused on rock barrel change day. So exciting! And of course the first one I bring out is not a Girasol Opal, it's a citrine, but it's still pretty darn cool. And everybody looks like they're getting nicely rounded. A few little, like there's some issues right there. There's a little dip, a little valley with some roughness, but I don't know. I'm looking at these right now thinking, yeah, I think these are going to go on to stage 2, but let me get these rinsed off the rest of the way and cleaned up, and we'll make that determination in a minute. Alrighty folks, lastly and for sure not leastly is our green Aventurine. Green Aventurine. That is a really hard rock to say without saying Aventurine. But there's no adventure. I mean, there's an adventure. We're on the road to adventure shine. But, yeah. I think they should just rename it to make it easier for people. You know what? It's just that's too much of a tongue twister. It's too close. Blue stuff is what we got here. Look at that. And of course, instead of a piece of green aventurine, I bring out a piece of blue quartz because, oh my, that's awful darn pretty. But then, oh my, that's awful darn pretty too. So, not taking anything away from the green aventurine. But yeah, that's looking pretty darn good too. In fact, I'm going to make a snap judgment and say I think, well, there at that end's a little bit rough still, but we might just live with that. I don't know. Because the rest of that, I mean, yeah, it'd be nice to get rid of that, but by the time you did, you'd have a really fat, thick cabochon. So, anyway, same drill. I'll get these rinsed off and I'll be back with you in just a shake. Looks like I have an audience today for today's videography work here. Hopefully he's not a harsh critic or a stingy one. Alright peeps, well we're off on our 24 hours of bubble bath goodness. Just a quick note, green aventurine, I had to add ceramic as a cushion because the load had shrunk. The Girasol Opal, it was a little, yeah, I could have probably gone either way, but I ended up putting some in just to be all, you know, above board and stuff. That, the Fancy Jasper, it hadn't shrunk hardly at all. In fact, it was right perfect with the barrel gauge, so it's basically getting its bubble bath all by its little lonesome. It doesn't get no ceramic media. Don't you guys feel bad? Aww, no buddies. Howdy folks. Well, it's 10/10/22, and I'm hoping I've got some pretty rocks to show you. That's right, it's been 7 days. We've got some Girasol Opal here that's gone through three rounds of 60-90 grit. Sorry, I couldn't think of it for a second. And we're going to see what kind of results we got here. Looks like they're pretty rounded. That one I just picked up had a little issue. This one has a little issue on the end, but I'm thinking this time I might just excuse more of these, because if I keep grinding these too much more, they're going to shrivel up to nothing. We'll have to go with the overall, it's pretty darn smooth, maybe. We'll see. Let me get these rinsed off the rest of the way and I'll be right back. Next up we have some green Aventurine. Now this has been running in 120, 220 grit for the past 7 days. We're able to move. Definitely looks like it's smoothed up quite a bit. Feels nice. I have to give it a thorough inspection, but it's looking pretty good, I'd say. Boy, it's just such a cool color contrast in amongst all that green. That piece is neat too. If I could get my fingers out of the way. Anyway, let me get these rinsed off some more and I'll be back with you. And finally, we have our third go around in 69 grit of the Fancy Jasper. Hopefully this time it got the hint and decided to smooth off and get ready to go on to stage 2. Hopefully. Well, let's see if what we got here. Looks pretty good. What's this? Oh, pretty agate. Look at that. Still got some of the crust on the back. I don't know if I want to try to run this and get every last bit of that off or not. It looks pretty thick. I think that'd take a long time to get rid of that. I don't know. Gosh, that's pretty. Neat looking stuff. Yeah, oh, it's still got some of that milky stuff on it. Almost looks like some kind of coating. Yep, well, let me get these rinsed off the rest of the way and we'll make some determinations. Alright peeps, well after a lot of soul searching and rock looking and feeling and fondling, I've decided that these are ready to go on to stage 3, the 500 grit aluminum oxide. I'm a little bummed out about the fracturing, I'm not going to lie. There are some pieces in here that have 0 fractures and they are like, oh, sweet. And then you've got other pieces like this, which, you know, you've got this going on, but worse yet, there's a pretty good little, well, it's a chip that probably may break off at some point, and a divot, fracture-y kind of a thing. Well, you know, overall this is a nice rock. It's got a nice shape and size, and if I run that back in the grind phase, what am I going to end up with by the time we're done? Maybe if this still really bothers me when I'm done, I'll finally get off my duff and figure out that flat lap thing I've got, see if I can get it moving. But alright, as I was saying, barrel's loaded. You know, again, if that's still an issue by the time we're done, maybe I'll hit it with a flat lap. Hopefully overall they're in good shape. So we've got them loaded up per the Easter basket barrel gauge barometer, and got some ceramic media in there with it. Here's an odd question for you, or maybe not an odd question, but when you guys load your barrels and you're using ceramic, do you do like a layer of rock, a layer of ceramic, a layer of rock, etc., etc.? How do you do it? I'm just curious. That's basically what I do. I just try to get it evenly distributed, even though I think once the tumble starts, it's all going to get amalgamated anyway. But just out of safety, I do it that way. I'm curious how you guys do it. Well, let me get this buttoned up and I'll be back with you. Alright folks, next we have our lovely Girasol Opal and its ceramics. This had done 3 7-day cycles in 60-90 grit, and I believe it's time to move it on. Some of these pieces are just beautiful, smooth, almost perfect. And then some of them, like this, that looks really cool with the you know, the different opacities, I guess you'd call it. But then on this side you've got some issues. Well, I mean, by the time those issues are gone, probably that's gone, and you know, the whole rock shrinks. If you could put it in there and just say, do this end only, we might have something. But again, I think that's what the cab machine comes in for. So, and some of these guys are getting awful small. And, you know, running them the extra time, I think it did help. It did take out some of the issues, but again, that's going to be tiny by the time we're done now. So, we're just going to say, go with God, roll well, come out shiny, and we're going to put some 120-220 grit in there. Lastly, but again, certainly not leastly, we have our Fancy Jasper. And I'm a bit exasperated, I guess. I'm not sure what to do with this stuff. Well, and this is not Fancy Jasper, obviously. This is that piece of moss agate I threw in there, but this actually didn't have much of this damage before this last go around in the 60-90 grit. In fact, I have a little tiny piece of a chip of it that came right off, and I know it is because it's got, you know, clear with just a little snip of dendrite in it. So, I'm not sure what the heck to do. I'm sitting here trying to decide as I'm talking to you people. Like this area is rough and it's undercutting, but again, I don't think you can grind all that off unless it's just skin deep, or yeah, it doesn't go much more than skin deep. But I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards another round of 60-90 just to see what the heck happens. Both the agates have a little bit of rind still on them that it'd be nice to come off, but again, I'm looking at one of them and it's like that's going to take a lot of revolutions in a tumbler to get it all off. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do 60-90 again with this. You know, we really didn't lose hardly any volume in this last run. I mean, it's filled right up. So yeah, they, you know, like I said, some of them look pretty nice, but some of them, like I said, they could use a little more work, and I guess they could all use a little more rounding. So yeah, let's do that. Let's just do another round of 60-90 and see what happens. Well, peeps, the rocks are rolling once again. Another 7 days and we'll have some results. Hopefully some good results. Sorry, I didn't mean to sound all wishy-washy on that Fancy Jasper at the end there, but yeah, I'm not really sure. Yesterday I was just like, no, I'm just going to move them on. But I started looking again today and it's like, well, maybe if some of this stuff will come out, yeah, they're going to be smaller, but there'll be less issues. I am really disappointed with the damage to that Montana moss agate though, because again, up till now that thing's been looking nice. It was coming along good, and now this is going to be 4 7-day runs in 60-90 for that. That's 28 days if I'm doing the math right. So one issue I have, according to a few people I've talked to, is that these tumblers run slower. On the little barrels I'm rocking 30 RPM. Lortone single and double 3-pound barrel machines I believe go at about 40 or 41 RPM. So that's quite a bit of difference. You know, I've been advised maybe run them for 10 days instead of 7. Thus far, if everything goes right, when I pull them out after 7, I'm not really seeing that grit doing a whole lot more. I mean, I've got a very fine slurry. I'm not saying it won't, but I think most of the aggressive grinding is done by then. I don't know what point at what point in that whole thing it happens, but, and I know as that stuff breaks down, it's supposed to break into sharp pieces. But again, if it's, you know, if you can take the slurry and go like this and not feel anything much, I don't think it's still doing a whole lot. So we'll see what happens after this. If I see a lot more breakage and stuff, well, then we're going to have to reconfigure something, I guess. But anyway, enough rambling. You guys take care. We'll see you in 7 days, or 5 seconds, depending on how I do the video. Thanks for watching, folks.